everybody, this is Linda with Cashmere Kitchen. Thank you for tuning in today. What I would like to do today is a peach pound cake, and it's going to have nuts on the top of it. And the reason why I chose a peach pound cake is because I had about 3 or 4 peaches, fresh peaches, that were about to go bad, and I said, well, what can I make with this? So that's why I came up with that this recipe to make a peach pound cake. So what we're going to do is start with half a cup of Crisco and 2 sticks of butter. And what we're going to do is whip that. And we want to go ahead and add the sugar in there because we want some. To the sugar we're going to add, to the butter and the shortening we're going to add 3 cups of sugar. This is one of the most important parts. You have to let the sugar and the butter and the Crisco mix until it becomes a real light pale color. Once it becomes the pale color that you need it to be, then you'll be ready to put your flour and your milk and everything in. But until then, you gotta let it mix. And you have to be patient. This is the color that you're looking for. It's a very pale off-white color. Okay, so we're going to slow that down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add our eggs. This particular recipe calls for 5 eggs. We're not going to just dump our eggs in the mixture. We are going to we're going to put the eggs in a different container, and then we'll slowly add them. But you always want to check your eggs before you add them into your ingredients, because you could get a bad egg and then your whole mix will be no good. So, and when you add them, you do want to add them slowly. And what you want to do is try to add them one at a time. Let that incorporate a little bit, and then you can add another one. Always remember, baking takes patience. You can't rush it because it's not on your time. And if you don't have time to do it, then don't start it. Just come in when you got time to bake. Set a lot of time aside, and just take your time. That's when you put the love in your food and you get the best results. So it may take a little while to put these eggs in one at a time, but that's just the best way to get them incorporated. Keep it in mind when you're making a pound cake, just about any kind of cake, you want to try to get just about all of your mixing done before you add your flour, because your flour is what creates the gluten in your cakes. And the more you mix it, the more gluten, and then the tougher it gets. So I want to do as much mixing as I can before I add my flour. So now we already have our sugar, we have our butter, we have some shortening, and now we have all of our eggs. So the next thing that we're going to be adding is our dry, which is flour. I use 2 types of flour in my pound cake, and then I'm also going to be using buttermilk. What I do when I get ready to make a pound cake or any cake, I set my butter out, my eggs out, and my milk out, because you want it to become room temperature. When your items become room temperature and you bake with them, you get a better consistency, you get a better product, and you get a better tasting cake. Now that is looking very good. It's looking fluffy, and all that is butter, sugar, eggs, and Crisco. Here I'm going to do 2½ cups. Add it in slowly. If you don't add it in slowly, you will be wearing it. Also with flour, you want to level it off, but you want to also make it loose. You don't want to pack it in. You want a loose grain. Making a mess. But that's 2 cups of flour. You add a little bit of this buttermilk. Another ½ cup. Level it off. This is another ½ cup. That's 1 cup of milk. We're going to add another ½ cup of milk. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and put my vanilla in my milk. That's 2 tablespoons. Now we're going to add half of our peaches. With a little bit of flour. I'm going to put maybe 1/4 of the nuts in there. And that's done. The batter is done. I'm Linda again, Cashmere Kitchen, and we're back. This is the cake pan. It has already been prepared. It has been greased and lightly floured, and that's what we're going to put our cake in. So, right now, what we're going to do is get our cake out of the bowl. You want to get as much as this as you can. You don't want to leave too much of it on your spatula because all of the ingredients that it calls for to make this cake, some of them is on this spatula. So you want to try to get all of them into the cake mix as much as you can. Now this is the last minute mix, and this is just to make sure that I have everything all incorporated. And so what we're going to do is put it in the pan and turn it. Don't force it. Take your time, because you'll be able to straighten it out once you get it all, the mix all in the pan. But as for right now, we want to take our time, put it in there so that we get everything that we've mixed and incorporated into the pan to bake. I can't express how important it is to have one of these spatulas when you're baking, because that spatula is pretty much going to grab almost all of your ingredients. Now, you want to shake it a little bit, and what that does is evenly distributes the cake into the cake mixture into the cake pan. And then what I want to do I want to begin to add some of my nuts on top. And the peaches are pretty wet, so you don't want to add all that extra juice. So you want to be very careful and add them sparingly. And the reason why I say that, the recipe doesn't call for all that peach juice. So you don't want all the extra juice on there. It'll make for a wet cake. Done. You want to clean the excess off because you don't want that burning around your cake. What I have done is I've preheated my oven to 325 degrees. This cake will need to bake in my oven approximately an hour and 15 minutes, maybe an hour and 20 minutes. So an hour and 15 minutes is what I'll set my timer for. When that timer goes off, I'll look at the cake and see if it needs additional 5 minutes. It just depends. Everyone's oven is different, so you have to go by your oven setting. And if you bake a cake and you feel like it's not done, then you know next time to make notes with your recipe to add 5 more minutes or add 10 more minutes. So it just depends on your oven. So I'm gonna put this in the oven and we'll be right back. Okay. Okay, you guys. What? Oh yeah. It's like we're ready. Let me get it now. Hi everybody, welcome back to Cashmere Kitchen. It's Linda with Cashmere Kitchen. So we have our peach pecan pound cake out of the oven, and what I'm gonna do is a light drizzle. Now, how I made this drizzle, it looks a little dark. That's the vanilla in it. I put half a cup of powdered sugar, 3 tablespoons of milk, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla flavoring. You can also get clear vanilla flavoring, but I chose to use the brown vanilla flavoring because of the color, because it gives the look of a maple drizzle or a cinnamon drizzle because of the peaches and the pecans in the cake. So you don't want just a plain drizzle. So this is how we're going to drizzle the top, just a light drizzle. Our finished product. The cake is pretty warm right now. I do hope you try this cake. It is something that is near and dear to my heart. I love pound cake. It is absolutely my favorite type of cake. Since I was a child, I've always liked pound cake, and I've used this recipe for years. It is a favorite recipe. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, I will put the recipe on there, because I know when we went through the ingredients, we went through them kind of fast. So I will put the exact measurements on there. So just subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I hope you guys try this cake, and I hope that you enjoy it. So thank you for tuning in to Cashmere Kitchen, from my heart to yours. Bye.